There's really no way to do this without it being awkward, is there? It's a good thing that's never stopped me. Hey, so it's been a while, huh? Pretty sure it's been, 2 years since the last time I said, I'll see you next time, don't forget to subscribe, and then I disappeared for 2 whole years. Yeah, let's talk about that. So, I'm going to apologize in advance because there's probably going to be some jump cuts here. I'm already about 3 minutes into this video, and the actual video is probably about 10 seconds long. In general, I'm an uncomfortable person in front of a camera, and that's only worse now that there's an order of magnitude more of you guys. I think my last video I uploaded to about 100 subscribers, thinking it would get about 20 views. We're now at about, 1,600 subscribers with 94,000 views. I know it's a cliche whenever you hear YouTubers say, "Oh, I didn't think I'd get to this point." And, it's not as though this channel is massive by regular channel standards. But by my standards of talking to 2 or 3 people at a time, it's gotten a little bit bigger, and it's a little more pressure for me to perform. So that kind of sucks. But let's go ahead and let's just, I guess, do a bit of a recap before we get into the rest of the video where I talk about the future of the channel and probably make a bad joke or two. So when I first started this channel, I had the goal of just making some videos on tutorial topics that I thought were easy enough for me to cover and that I thought could help some people get started with Rails. I sort of envisioned myself continuing that, but I had no real plan for how to do that. And for those of you that have emailed me, and there's been a couple of you, asking how I made those cohesive videos that were just so polished and good, you don't need to lie to me. But in all honesty, it was hours and hours and hours of re-recording the one take clip of whatever the topic of the tutorial was on. So I still have the comments video pretty much ingrained into my brain because when I was making it, I reshot it for about 4 days straight because I thought that was the best way to do things. Obviously that's not maintainable by any standard, but even then when I had nothing else to do, that was a lot. And it honestly led to burnout very quickly, not because I wasn't interested in making videos, but because it felt like so much pressure to make the best video possible that it sort of became this self-fulfilling prophecy of failure. And that, coupled with some unpleasant experiences in my life, including dealing with a bout of depression, which, shocker, someone with a perfection problem isn't the happiest camper on the face of the planet. It made for me not wanting to really do anything. I kind of just spent a year or so working on myself and trying to get out of that funk. And I ended up finishing my degree, which is great because that took long enough. 6 years for anyone that was counting. Because originally I started off as pre-med and then I, fell in love with computer science. I started going to the gym and, doing all that stuff to really just get at it. And I decided that I wanted to move to Austin, Texas and become a bigwig software developer guy. I've always kind of been an entrepreneur person, but I thought, it might be fun to go work for a big company. And then I got to Texas, and I sort of realized that it was not for me. And I decided to move back, and my family came back with me. Anyways, we got back to Michigan, and we moved into the house that we were planning on staying in, because at the time I thought we had actually bought the house, but that turned into a whole thing. So I made the little community posts because I realized, oh, we're past 1,000 subscribers, which, I mean, had me shocked for different reasons, but it also gave me access to the community posts. And although I didn't have any of my equipment, I thought, oh yeah, I'll just make a post real quick and then I'll set up my stuff because I'm happy again. I want to do some videos. But then it turned out that the guy who sold us the house didn't actually want to sell the house. His realtor sold it without his approval. The cops showed up, but they sided with us because we signed the papers. And then, like, in between my second community post and when the video that I had planned I was going to record, in between that, at some point, it turned out that the water boiler wasn't working, so there was no heat in the house. There was also no hot water in the house. And when I tried to boil the water in water, and I'm not making this up, when I tried to boil the water in a water kettle so that I could take a shower with the water after it cooled off, there was some questionable particulates in it that turned out to be not safe for human consumption. And at that point, we decided to leave that house. That was about a month-long process, which drained a lot of money because you sort of move into what is essentially the oldest house in the neighborhood. It's going to require some repairs, and some of the money already went into that. Then the move to Texas and back, poor college boy living off ramen doesn't exactly have a surplus of funds to fund these adventures. But we're here now, and this house is, a little bit smaller, but it's in the process of being redone, renovated, and hopefully flipped for a decent profit. Anyone that's followed my Instagram probably has seen at least a couple pictures before I went on my Instagram hiatus. It seems to be a theme with me. I just kind of start doing something and then stop it. That's probably going to have to stop at some point itself, which is a little meta, but, there's a time and a place for an existential crisis, and I feel like this video is probably going to be long enough without me spiraling into one of those. So let's move on. All right, so what have I actually been working on following my graduation over the summer? About 4 months ago, I started learning React after watching a YouTube video, and I'll link to it in the description, of this guy who made a pathfinding project for his coding bootcamp, I think. And I thought it was neat. I thought it'd be a good way to refresh sort of what I'd lost for my algorithms class. And maybe, I could improve the project a little bit if I gave it some time. And after messing around with it for a couple days, I realized that there were some serious optimizations I could do and that I actually really enjoyed React and that I could probably take this project a little bit further. And I did. So over the course of, I think, about a month or two, I expanded it. It had the basic 4 or 5 algorithms, so, Dijkstra and breadth first, depth first, and the A-star pathfinding algorithm, which is big in gaming. If any of you are game developers, you probably know that. But then I also added some configuration options and terrain, so instead of just having like a maze to navigate, I thought, what if we give it a weighted terrain? Because one of the big things about Dijkstra versus breadth first search is, we got weighted terrains. So I made a little Perlin noise or simplex noise, I don't remember which one, terrain generator, which kind of just created nodes that each had a weight, and then the algorithms would go through it, check the weight, and then I went a little bit further recently and I added some more configuration options with the data structures and all that stuff, still a work in progress. And my plan was to cover that project in a YouTube series alongside some easier to record Rails videos. So rather than me doing 20 hours worth of 1 hour takes each, getting 17 minutes in and then messing up ones and restarting, I thought I'd just, cut it up into little sections or bite-sized pieces. But then I tried moving this project into a Rails application because I thought, what if instead of just a standalone project, I could turn this into sort of a plug-in tool thing that I could use to teach other people how to do pathfinding and actually make something good out of this project and not just, something to learn React with. And I tried porting it into Rails, and I've actually been doing this for the last, oh, there goes my computer, for the last couple days, and I've run into some issues involving the DOM not existing, which I'm not sure what's going on there. So what I was thinking of doing is recording myself building this project up in Rails. So I would start with the Rails application, and then I would add in React, and then I would start, building the grid and adding in nodes, and then adding the first pathfinding algorithm or something to that effect, and making each video one of those topics or whatever. So maybe video 1 is creating the Rails project, video 2 is adding React, and video 3 is, I don't know, creating the grid and the nodes, and then, Dijkstra, A-star, etc. But then I was thinking, that would be great for anyone who's interested in that specific project, but that's really not what the channel initially was about. When we first started off, the channel was about just very concise and specific examples that were broadly applicable. So like creating comments, that's in and of itself, it's a very specific topic. It's just creating a comment system, but it's a system that was sort of applicable for a wide variety of topics, and it was helpful to anyone who needed comments on anything, basically, because I tried to make it sort of polymorphic. I don't really think a pathfinding algorithm is necessarily super polymorphic in that respect, so this would be a very specific and lengthier series that I would definitely finish and not abandon like everything else in my life. So as a compromise, what I've been considering doing is recording this whole project ordeal in one space, and in another, keeping a steady stream of those old style of tutorial videos, but cut together from multiple takes so that it's not soul crushing when I say something wrong. Because, if this video was like that, I would have had to re-record this probably 20 times. But it's been going for about 19 minutes, and probably going to throw out half of that. But the other half is passably okay, and I am more than passably okay with that. Now then, let's talk about what else is going on with the channel. I will be setting up a Patreon and a Buy Me a Coffee, so that if anyone does feel like supporting me in the future, you can give me some form of social responsibility to where I feel obligated to make videos and I can't just run off and hide for 2 years. Maybe one of the tier rewards is a way to contact one of my real life friends so that they can shame me into making videos or something. But aside from the Patreon and the Buy Me a Coffee, I'm also working on setting up a subreddit, which I have no idea how to do. I also have no moderators, so it'll probably just be me. And I'm working on setting up a Discord channel, or I think I started back last year, back when I thought I would have time before I was homeless for a couple weeks and had to go shower at friends' houses, and it was a whole thing. But I'm going to try and flesh that out, and then maybe have a comment attached to this where it's a link to the Discord invite or something and the subreddit. And once the this video goes up, I guess, my future plans, at least for the foreseeable future, is probably going to be a couple more update videos where I sort of, fill people in on what I've been working on in terms of the channel. And in the meantime, I'll try to get back into the swing of things with Rails, because I am super rusty right now. One of the emails I got was, again, for image validations, and I had to go back and watch my own tutorial, and no one should be subjected to watching one of my and that was just a lovely experience. He's a very pleasant person. Highly recommend watching my stuff. I'm kidding, of course. I had it muted the whole time. But yeah, so I guess the TLDR is, or the TLDW, I don't know, is Rails content coming with a Rails React project hybrid thing that'll hopefully be an educational platform that sort of has a meta educational component where you learn how to build this educational platform blog thing. And hopefully it'll be a decent boost for anyone's resume if they're interested, or maybe it'll just be interesting to see how you build something like that when you don't really know what you're doing. Because I'm an expert on not knowing what I'm doing. But yeah, for now, I guess that's it. And I guess I'll include updated social media links in this video because I kind of changed my whole branding at some point, but I never made a video where I announced that I changed my branding, so a lot of people just had to go and find me off Google, which bravo to those of you who did, and I'm sorry for the number of times that I said, I'm working on restarting the channel, and then it never happened because my life was just a disaster for multiple years. But we're in a solid situation now. My system is set up again. I have my ring light, which is cool, and this time I'm sticking around and hopefully also launching my own business, but we'll see if I feel like talking about that in a future video. So for now, thank you for watching. If you have any comments, respond down below or up above if YouTube changes or something, and I will reply to each and every one of them. I'll also give you the links to the stuff that I said and all of the other things. I'm sorry this was so rambly. It's been a while and it's 3 in the morning and I'm probably tired and just a weird person in general. So, whatever. I will see you next time. Thank you so much. I love you all. Good night.